Hey YouTube, welcome back to Red Squig painting contest number 5 for the hosts. If you would like to see our community one, just go back and find it. Should be pretty easy to find. I put them all into a playlist for everybody. So this challenge was monster, and the idea was to go out and find a monster model and paint it up. Generally, we have 3 to 4 of our hosts, those who host either the podcast or who make content here for YouTube as part of it, and we turn to our community and some of our frequent guests to judge us, because hopefully they'll judge us a lot more harshly than we'll judge ourselves. And it's not really fair if we judge ourselves, because then we just keep, we keep just voting for ourselves, and then nothing ever happens. The way that the rules of it work, everybody's got... From the hosts to the community, everybody's got about 2 months to paint a model. We announce the rules about a month. We announce the rules about 60 days before final models are due. Then everybody goes ahead, paints up their models, submits them. They go into a community vote on our Discord server. You can find links to that down in the show notes. And from there, the community votes on them. Everybody in the community's vote is worth 1 point. People who are our patrons, their votes are worth 2 points apiece. Our moderators get 3 votes. Their top vote is worth 6 points. Their middle vote is worth 3 points. And their third place vote, their last vote, is worth a point. And then our other hosts, the hosts that did not compete in the contest, get the same thing. 6 point, 3 point, 1 point. Those of us who did compete, we each get 1 vote. Our 1 vote is worth 3 points, and generally speaking, we try not to vote for ourselves, but sometimes it happens. Then our panel of guest judges who are here with me today. I am just a host. I don't get to vote. But my panel of guest judges, Mullins, Ickbard, and Emmy, all get 3 votes. Their top vote is worth 9 points. Their mid vote, their second vote is worth 6 points, and their bottom vote is worth 3 points. I then go ahead and do some math, tabulate up everything, and let you guys know the final standing and who out of our hosts won. In this competition, the hosts that produced, the best number 5 for the hosts. If you would like to see our community one, just go back and find it. Should be pretty easy to find. I put them all into a playlist for everybody. So this challenge was monster, and the idea was to go out and find a monster model and paint it up. Generally, we have 3 to 4 of our hosts, those who host either the podcast or who make content here for YouTube as part of it, and we turn to our community and some of our frequent guests to judge us, because hopefully they'll judge us a lot more harshly than we'll judge ourselves. And it's not really fair if we judge ourselves, because then we just keep, we keep just voting for ourselves, and then nothing ever happens. The way that the rules of it work, everybody's got... From the hosts to the community, everybody's got about 2 months to paint a model. We announce the rules about a month. We announce the rules about 60 days before final models are due. Then everybody goes ahead, paints up their models, submits them. They go into a community vote on our Discord server. You can find links to that down in the show notes. And from there, the community votes on them. Everybody in the community's vote is worth 1 point. People who are our patrons, their votes are worth 2 points apiece. Our moderators get 3 votes. Their top vote is worth 6 points. Their middle vote is worth 3 points. And their third place vote, their last vote, is worth a point. And then our other hosts, the hosts that did not compete in the contest, get the same thing. 6 point, 3 point, 1 point. Those of us who did compete, we each get 1 vote. Our 1 vote is worth 3 points, and generally speaking, we try not to vote for ourselves, but sometimes it happens. Then our panel of guest judges who are here with me today. I am just a host. I don't get to vote. But my panel of guest judges, Mullins, Ickbard, and Emmy, all get 3 votes. Their top vote is worth 9 points. Their mid vote, their second vote is worth 6 points, and their bottom vote is worth 3 points. I then go ahead and do some math, tabulate up everything, and let you guys know the final standing and who out of our hosts won. In this competition, the hosts who competed were Chuck, Marky, and myself, Goblin King. As I had mentioned, being that I am just the host of this one, I'm going to shut up and get out of the way, but I want to introduce our judges first. So Mullins, you are our one of our two new judges. This is your first time judging on the against the hosts, or judging for the hosts, I should say. Give us a little bit of your background in painting models. You did win a Red Squig trophy already. You won for Magnus, correct?
Yes. My background in painting is mostly just I got started during COVID at the very beginning. Kept it going with Thousand Sons, Adeptus Custodes, and Gene Stealer Cult. I somehow snagged a trophy. I think it was the bribes, honestly. But I've slowly gotten better. I'm not the greatest. I'm not the greatest at blending or non-metallic metal, but I like things that look pretty. So we'll see how that goes.
Your Magnus blew a lot of us away, man. So, hell yeah. Next up, Ickbard, you are my returning judge. I think you've judged against us each time, for us each time, excuse me.
Oh, no, it's against you. This is a highly combative relationship. You knew this when you said, man, it'd be great if the guy who makes fun of me edited these videos.
So, Ickbard, you have placed in second and third several times. You've been damn close to winning a couple of times.
It's a race between Mullins and I, between either first, second, third, or dead last.
Yes, I forget who has the most last place entries, but it's one of us, and we're
yeah. It's like Zoe gets the pity vote, then we get shafted.
And a lot of it's based on how much progress like we see as kind of trying to bring a technical aspect to it. So to let you guys know. What happens a lot, especially as we get more and more people competing, is it just gets harder and harder to like pick one that we really love, or to really, and it really kind of comes down to weird, almost nitpicky technical stuff. At least for me and Marky, we have a tendency to judge a little bit more technically. We are looking at kind of revising how we do our internal judging. We'll still present our first, second, and third as first, second, and third, but we have criteria that we're going to start going over, because man, you guys are getting really damn good, and it's getting really freaking hard to say one's better than the other, which is cool.
I would like to filibuster.
As hosts, it's really cool.
I'm going to filibuster you here. Whoever puts the most puns in their lore segment obviously should get about a 20-point boost.
Man,
I see. That's
Absolutely
right. So Emmy, this is also your first time as a judge, as a guest judge. Wow, I can't talk today. Let us know a little bit. Emmy's obviously been a guest on the podcast a couple of times, but let us know a little bit of your painting background, your painting chops. I know that you do some commission stuff. Ickbard as well, I know, does some. So
yep.
Hit us.
Again, pandemic, like lockdown hobby startup. I did makeup artistry for years, and then I was like, you know what? Let's start painting little plastic mans. I started with 40k, started with Death Guard, and then Death Guard Necrons. I've painted some orc stuff. Recently, sort of my main squeeze is the Lizardmen of Age of Sigmar, and I've been dabbling in some D&D minis, but my whole thing is, if it looks like the box art, no thank you, and robots are great, and the more glitter, rhinestones, and pink you can put on it, the better.
Awesome. And we'll have links to everybody's social media and ways to find everybody at the end. As I mentioned, both Ickbard and Emmy do commission painting. Mullins, you're not doing commission painting? You're not balancing commission painting with college yet, huh?
No, I think I'm getting there. I'm ready
Energy
for more
drinks.
hell at some point. I'll be ready.
Just pull a Steve Jobs and drop out. Not like, nothing can go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, commission painting, and I am also on the TikTok.
Yeah.
How I met Gabo.
That's right. We are part of the Minis TikTok or Warhammer or whatever the heck it's called now. I forget. I'm always like, oh, we're calling it something different now. Great. Yay. Anyway. Well, without we got the rules down. We've got our judges introduced. We are ready to go. So the first model, we're going to go ahead and take a look at everybody's model. So first up is Chuck. Chucker flies Be'lakor. And I'll go through the photos here. If somebody has that lore ready and wants to go over it, that'd be cool.
He's quite skinny. Would you like me to read the lore?
Yeah. I was like, I don't remember him writing that.
I just like how this photo looks like he's fucking Babe Ruth about to smack it out of Fenway Park. Always my way. I told the Alice when she came from the distant Terra, but she and those that wore the Aquila would not listen. So they turned my planet, which was a wonderland, into a wasteland. No more red roses, or pink, green, or aquamarine. So now I hunt with what is left of my court. I hunt for the Alice, and all those that bear the Aquila of Terra. I have one order, and it shall always be my way. Off with their heads. For my newfound god wants nothing but skulls for their throne. So we let the blood flow, and paint all of the roses red.
Ooh.
It's interesting. I love this take on Be'lakor. I love he's not the red painted demon look.
Mm-hmm. This is giving me Great Clean One vibes. The flashiness of him. I really like the way that the bone is painted. The bone looks very sort of it looks real spooky, the way it's very kind
very
of
bleached
toned. Yeah. Personally, if I was to take this color scheme, I would have added a little bit more of a blue and purple sort of an undercoating. I would have even maybe like airbrushed a little bit of like a blue or purple contrast underneath and then overcoated with the flesh tone. I think that just would have made him look even more sort of like sunken in and bruised, and I think that would have been pretty neat.
Yeah, I like the water take on the base, with the water in the cracks.
I could take that.
Oh yeah, instead of the blood.
I think in this case, for the bones, I would have liked to have them a bit more tinted, to let the white shine out a bit more. I think for the skin, it has enough done there for that almost cell-shaded look, which you can definitely see as like almost like a cartoon thing, as you know, we're bringing in Alice in Wonderland and everyone thinks about the Disney movie. But for the bone itself, just a little like the horns, the tail and the spine mainly, not the wings. I could see like just hitting with like a little bit of wash and then just hitting again with that highlight, because it like just on the back right there, it's almost right, but it's just not enough for me to go, oh yeah, that ties it all together.
Because I think that what you're saying would just give us more contrast between the bone and the flesh, and I would have just liked to see a little bit more of a distinction, because otherwise we're getting a lot of like nude, tan, and beige harmonies in there.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Marky's Death Knight King, which he painted with UV fluorescent. He was messing around with and testing out UV fluorescent paints.
I think it's a very bold strategy to make an art piece where you need to wear the red-blue 3D glasses to truly appreciate what you're witnessing.
This is stunning, and I have an idea for some Night Haunt and some chain rasp hordes, and I will be talking. Marky and I will be talking, because I had very much a similar kind of a vision for those.
So I think this is this is full light.
That is stunning.
Studio light. And then this is lights off.
That sword.
Oh my god. Yeah. We're gonna chat.
We got some lore on this guy too, right?
No, never. He never writes lore.
Nah, Marky never likes Last, right?
You want me to get it?
I'll create some lore.
I think he did write some lore. You got it, Mullins?
Sure.
You can ad-lib my lore if you want to.
I'll let you handle
Okay,
that.
sure.
The bright niche lights of Candyland struck again.
From what seems the depths of hell, the Death Knight King wanders, looking, searching for his eternal rest. How will he hold on to his last thread of humanity as he wanders the catacombs in eternal darkness, never knowing that realizing the light that comes from within is what will rest his eternal soul?
Spoopy.
Spoopy.
Lich King vibes.
Lich King, if you were in Wizard of Oz.
Lich King if you're on
What was that?
Oh, it just doesn't really explain the vaporwave, though. My head canon, he's like trapped in an arcade cabinet.
Oh yeah, 100%. Now that you say it.
Yeah, he's like, he's in a video game and he's stuck in the mall and he's trapped and cursed forever to wander the Chuck E. Cheese or something.
He's a side character to the newest Kids on Bikes show from the 80s.
He's stuck at a bowling alley after 8 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday night.
Exactly. He's cursed forever to wander the tracks of a pinball machine or something.
He scored too well against the demon of Splitter's Lane during laser nights.
Splitter's Lane.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up is my knight, the Shriven. So this is actually the Shriven champion. My Gene Stealer cult is called the Shriven Scale, and the Shriven Scale follow a matriarch instead of a patriarch. They follow Blind Lady Justice, which is a Gene Stealer patriarch that has themed itself that way. That's why Lady Justice is featured on it. But basically, the cult believes that the Imperium is unjust and weighted heavier than it should be, and that the Gene Stealer cult is held down by the man. The Shriven champion is a knight pilot that was infected with the Gene Stealer kiss. And when he went back to his knight, the knight's AI didn't conceptualize the fact that this wasn't the Imperium. It's just too far gone, and embraced the change that was brought to it. And slowly and yet surely, the Gene Stealer cult itself and then the Tyranid hive mind as well started to manipulate the knight. And the Shriven Scale work a little bit like the Tiamat Gene Stealer cults, the Eternal Void, where they're sent out and they conquer planets, and then they feed the conquered to They Who Thirst, which is my Tyranid army. They don't consume the world and martyr themselves. They're used as a tool to go out and conquer other worlds. So they do come from a death world, which is why I did jungle death world plants. But
Oh. Yeah, I like this. He's sort of like the last forgotten robot of the death world. It's giving me very like the lifted Lorax vibes. Like there he is with the last stump of the truffula tree. I like it.
I like that.
I love the stance on the
I just-
model.
Yeah.
I like looking at the framing around the actual the trim, seeing like it's equally beautiful up close and far away. There's different things you can look at it and enjoy from it. So it's something where, unlike me, where it's okay from a distance, when you get close you start seeing the flaws. This one is like perfect clear. Like once you get zoomed in on it, and I love it. It's like unwrapping a little present.
I love the weathering on the armor. I think that looks awesome.
There's so much detail on this. Like, just if you look at it for long enough, you just find so many new things on it. It's crazy.
A little Russian
It was a
nesting doll.
difficult. It was a difficult conversion to do, and I did it in not the Kit Bash contest.
How many times did it break?
I broke it 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
One for each arm.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, guys. Well, I am... Let's get back to our first. So, to go over the community votes before we jump into everything else... Community-wise, Checkerfly was at 8 votes. Oh, wait. Let me do this the first, second, third, right? That's the way you're supposed to. So third. Okay. So in third place with community votes at 6 points is Marky. Checkerfly is in second place with 8 votes. And myself, Goblin King, is in first place with 12 votes. Then Bear and Marshall, our 2 moderators, voted. And at the end of their votes, so Bear's third place was awarded to Checkerfly. His second place was, I'm sorry. I need to turn on a light. I cannot read. Bear's third place went to Marky, bringing Marky's total to 7 points. Bear's second place went to Checkerfly, bringing Checkerfly's total to 11 points. And Bear's first place vote went to Goblin King, bringing Goblin King to 18 points. Marshall's third place vote went to Marky, bringing his total to 8 points. His second place vote went to Checkerfly, bringing Checkerfly's vote a total to 14 points. And his first place went to Goblin King, bringing Goblin King to 24. Then Tom voted for Marky for his third place, bringing Marky's total to 11. Checkerfly for his second place, which brought Checkerfly's total to 20. And Goblin King, bringing Goblin King's total to 33. Because I did math wrong.
Did on
So
the
what are the
weekend,
current
folks.
scores again?
Sammy, sorry.
I'm sorry, what was that?
What are the current totals again?
Okay, yeah. So because I apparently added way more numbers than I was supposed to add. So after Tom's vote, Marky is at 9 points, Checkerfly is at 17 points, and Goblin King is at 27 points. And then Rugen voted for Marky for first place. So that brings Marky up to 15 points. He voted for Checkerfly for second place, bringing Checkerfly up to 21 points. And he voted for Goblin King for third place, bringing Goblin King to 30 points. Then Marky voted for himself, bringing his total to 24 points. Chuck voted for Goblin King, bringing Goblin King to 33 points. And I voted for Checkerfly, bringing his total to 18 points. So after everything was said and done, in third place with 18 points is Marky, and second place with 24 points is Checkerfly, and first place with 33 points is myself. There we go. There was a lot of stuff to total up. That everybody was supposed to send me their one-liners as to what they liked or didn't, as far as our moderators went and our other hosts went. I didn't get those, so I kind of know why everybody voted the way they did. Tom voted for myself because he's a huge Knight player, and Rugen voted for Checkerfly because they're both big Chaos players. So it all kind of evens out a little bit. I also know that Rugen really liked all the UV stuff that Marky had done with the model, all the glowy effects. They had been talking about how to kind of utilize that glow and UV reactive paint a lot. So, but that's the inconsequential part. The consequential part, the part that matters, is how do you guys vote? So again, you guys have a first place, second place, and third place vote. We're going to go with your third place first. Mullins, since you are top of the head totem pole, we're going to go with you first. So who is your third place pick? And hit us with a couple of details.
My third place is going to be Marky. I really do. I love this model, and as a Nutty J, it kind of hurts to have to put him down to third. But like this was a really close contest, and having it come down to this little model and then a knight and then Bellacore is a little rough sometimes. I feel that. But I do love the paint job on this model. I love the glow in the dark, especially the sword. With the way he did like the lines of the sword in the dark, it looks amazing. If I had to give any critique at all, it would probably be the silver feels a little out of place with all the neon, but that's just a personal nitpick, honestly.
Cool, very cool. Icbard, you are up next. Your third place vote.
I am gonna go with Checkerfly for my number 3.
Okay.
And not because Marky has subsided his threat of making me a castrato for blowing up his Burnabama with the first Patreon subscription. Because there's a lot of greatness in what Checkerfly made here. The issue I have with it is the consistency in that greatness. If I compare that sword and that killer base compared to the body and the face, it feels like some things were given love and some things were a checkmark. Once again, like not to harp on it because we've already talked about it, the bones like on the actual body itself that aren't the wings. The shading he did for some of the flesh is very evident. Some of it looks very minimal. And if we compare, like, if we look in that center part with the abs, the way this is built is we're looking at its face and its torso, and it brings out. So if I'm starting looking at the torso and I'm seeing kind of areas that he may have wanted to redo, like with where the muscles are creased and everything, those look a little rough. Like if you look under his arm, that looks way better than like where the abs are. And if that's where it starts, it's telling me he didn't start there to help bring it as a cohesive measure.
All right. Emmy, your third place vote.
It is also Checkerfly. What I would say is just in terms of judging it like you would a table-ready model, right? Like at arm's length. From arm's length, from a distance, there's individual pops of color and accents, like the purple of the loincloth. We see the hit of the blue on the sword. There's the overall contrast of the darkness of the base with the lightness of the model, which is lovely. However, the majority, 80% of this model is all flesh tone and bone. And I would have liked to see more shading and more contrast on the flesh, which may have brought out the overall lightness of the bone. But overall, we're looking at a very beige, tan, and sort of like neutral tones. And that's not really drawing the eye to the details, perhaps the way that was the overall intent of the model. If we had more contrast between the flesh tones and the bones, visually, I think the model would have been more impactful.
Got it. All right, guys. Do you guys want an update, or are you good to keep going and we'll update later?
Make it more suspenseful.
Perfect.
We'll update after.
That's what I figured. All right, Mullins. So you are on to your second place vote.
My second place is going to be Checkerfly. I love this model. I love the way he's painted it. My favorite, one of my favorite parts is that base. I love the water coming from the cracks as like a difference to like the typical blood or like lava you'd see in some paint jobs. the blue, the purple. It's like that's like some of my favorite parts of this model. I will echo kind of the sentiments of episode 4. I wish there was a little bit more contrast on the skin and with the base. Maybe a little bit more of that blue or purple somewhere, but that's like the only thing I have. Like I would love to have a model painted like this. It's like beautiful.
Very cool. Ickbard, you're up.
This will be Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch for my number 2.
All right.
I love the story the model tells. When it comes to the lore, I don't really see where it is there. I can kind of make a little bit of a distinction with Chuckers for his lore and art style, but I think that was a bit of a reach on my part to make it make sense. The fact that this is my number 2 is it's unapologetically just razzle-dazzle. It is made to be loved for... Ryan, you're going to scoff at me. It's meant to be loved in how atrociously gaudy it is. Kind of like how a pug's face is squished in, but it's cute.
Hey!
It's still cute.
To the pug owner who's into synthwave, I feel attacked. No.
No, that's okay. Like you said, you chose me as your editor. But this is like unapologetically great in that you got love it or leave it, and because it makes that solid state, and it's 100% that, like from crown to I don't know, Ivan Ooze there on the base. It's just awesome. It's a fun model, and it's a great conversation starter. And the fact that it's able to pull that much weight with that much detail, like if we look at the non-LED, like with the normal lighting on the sword, that is some amazing blending there. That 5 months ago I would have been slamming my head against the desk, going, "Why can't I replicate this?" So like that with that being replicated all over this small model, he made every square centimeter action-packed, which is not something you always see even with big models. If I have one critique, Marky, I love you that you're not doing all the thematic lighting around it. I think if you had it a little dimmer, or maybe a softer light, I think it would have been awesomer to look at. That is the only thing I have to say about it as a negative. Otherwise, make some more, because I think that's a really cool elite unit that you could run.
All right, Emmy, you're up.
Okay, my second place pick is Gabo. This is beautiful. I love the weathering of the armor. I love the basing. The lore and the model fit together absolutely. I really like the way that the model is very vivid, and I love the primary color scheme. My tiny little nitpicks of critique is I would just add a slight more, like a little bit, even just dry brush a straight white over the Justice just to make her pop a little bit more. Sometimes it's hard to see, from a long distance unless you were told like there are smaller figures in there. And otherwise, this is incredibly impactful. The color design and the storytelling is impeccable. So, fantastic job.
Thank you. As the person who can respond, I say thank you. All right, Mullins, you are up with your first place vote.
Which will be you, the Gene Stealer Cult Knight. As a fellow Gene Stealer Cult man, this is one of the, I've seen a few Gene Stealer Cult Knights around in pictures on the internet. This one is one of the coolest kit bashes I've seen for that. Honestly, the four arms, all like the skulls, the symbols. This is a dream kit bash, and the paint job accentuates every detail of it. The justice symbol on like the little chest piece, I don't know what that's called on a knight, but that is like, that draws the eye. It could use a little bit more highlight, but I really do like how that goes. The blue, I love. I love bright colors on models, like bright neons, and that blue is just perfect for that. My only critique, if I had one, would be those little armored pieces on the shoulders on the inside of them. As they're blue on the outside, the insides are like a little yellowish white, like bone almost. I don't know if that was intentional or not. That just as someone who does this a lot, it makes me think that like I might have missed a spot. I don't know if that was intentional.
It's supposed to be bone.
Okay.
But I see what you mean.
Yeah, and that's honestly a me thing, honestly. But other than that, yeah, this model is awesome.
Thank you. All right, Ick, you're up.
Okay, so my number one place is going to Alfarius and his brother Omegon. They have the best leech. So, Marky, you're the... Marky is my number one and number two. He took both slots because he's that thick.
Oh, okay.
No.
Got it.
So Gabo, let's go to yours. Let's go ahead and make you feel, happy until Emmy gives Marky the win here. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is exactly what I say like Coco Chanel says everyone should have a little black dress. I say everyone should have a Titanic unit. Everyone should own some type of Titanic. It is fun. It is where you can truly let your inner creative self free. This is a perfect example of it. I love the way it steals my attention. It forces me to gawk at it. If there's one thing I could say as a negative is I think the background you used made the Liberty or Death, album cover figurine that you and I have been talking about for this competition for a long time, that you've been working on, obscures it. Otherwise, if it were a different color in the background, it could have been seen better, but that is still, a negative towards your way just for presentation purposes. There's three main ways you can make me fall in love with anything. Is it a big honkin' vehicle of unwieldy proportions? Does it have weathering and patina? Does it have delightful details that when you zoom in, they're there? And all that marbling you did, all that speckling...
Oh shit, I can zoom.
Yeah, all that speckling. There you go. It's so good, it made him want to learn how to zoom in live time. Yeah, all that speckling, all that marbling is just... Meh. I'm a person who loves to weather, who loves to make everything dirty and grody. For this, everyone saw for the monster thing, I made Meat-tarian. I love that rot, decay, disgusting look stuff. So when I'm looking at that heavy stubber, on his left shoulder, just all rusted, and you see just a little bit of that blue right there on the edge, just starting to give that, almost like copper brass, oxidizing. That's exactly what I aim for and what I love, and the fact that he's in a jungle, and you see that this would be a place where you start to see more of that wear and tear. That is what gives me happiness when I make my models. So when I see people do it properly, I can't help but love it. And that's why you're my number one. That, and you still owe me $50.
All right, Emmy.
Okay. My number one pick is going to be Marky. The reason why I am choosing this is because this is such a difficult technique to do, maintaining that constant light source and then using a non-traditional gradation of colors to go from light to dark. Everything looks zenithal, but it's not tints and shades of the same tones. everything is absolutely correct in terms of the placing, the way that it should be for the lighting. The edge highlighting being done in the pink with the soft wet blend of the green into the pink, well, creating that one source lighting, the zenithal highlighting. It's just a beautiful light work. The storytelling is awesome. I actually kind of like the silver chainmail. It's sort of like he's half stuck in a video game, and he's half in his fantasy realm and half in like a virtual world. And the synthwave thing is just killing it. This is, of course, the type of painting that I do. The stranger, the more off the color scheme, the better. And just the one small man is telling this story beautifully. The other entrants are telling with a larger model. It's all scaled down, but it's just as impactful. So Marky does get my number one vote.
All right. Well, that brings us to our final totals. So tied in second place are Marky and Chuckerfly with 36 points. And the winner of the, I think, third hosts contest, although it is the fifth competition, it is the third time we have competed, is Goblin King, myself, with 57 points. So thank you very much, guys. I actually took some notes on things that I could do better, so thank you. Thank you for joining us as our guests today in our hosts painting contest. For those of you who are catching this YouTube episode for the first time, we do have a couple of others. They're in a playlist that you guys should be able to get to relatively easily. All of my guests today have social media presence, and all of the links to find their stuff, including their fantastic painted models, are down in the show notes. If you have any questions or any desire to get involved with us, you can reach us with email at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or jimdarkgaming@gmail.com. You can also use the link below again to join our Discord community. And if you want to get involved in our painting contests in the future, real simple way to do it. You can join our Discord community and then get involved with us on Patreon at our lowest level, which is $3 a month. Not only do you get access to video podcast episodes, we do a podcast, but you also get access to our quarterly painting contests. And as I just mentioned, Under the Hive of Madness is our weekly podcast where we cover Warhammer 40k lore, and everybody that you have met and heard from today is a guest or will be a guest on the show at some point. So if you're interested in catching up with any of them or hearing any more of their thoughts when it comes to lore or the hobby in general, should definitely go ahead on over and toss us a follow. You guys have anything? Anybody have anything they want to plug specifically?
Yeah.
Before we sign off today?
I'm Ickbard from Objective Insecure, where four friends play Warhammer because therapy's too expensive. We had a minor hiatus due to the fact that one of our co-hosts had emergency surgery, but we are looking to take 2023 by storm. I have a couple of videos being worked on right now to kind of explain what happened in the interim and kind of work on some more of the community-oriented content that we've wanted to give to everyone.
Awesome. Anybody else? Emmy, you got anything you want to plug? Mullins, anything you want to plug?
Please follow me on TikTok if you do have that app. We're so close to 15K. It would be just everything if you gave me a follow over there.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Spay and neuter your squiglings.